Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. A very warm welcome to English Grade 8 video lesson series. Students, today we will cover yet another students learning outcome from our unit number 9 called Jalebis. This is our lecture 4B and we are going to talk about reading competency. And we have the learning outcome. Let's read it. It says, determine a theme or central idea of a text and analyze its development over the course of the text. We will also try to see that how we can provide an objective summary of the text. Read an extensive range of fiction and non-fiction books and guess the meaning of the words and phrases in the text. So the text we have is a story called Jalebis. We will analyze it, we will read it as well, and we will see that how we can find the theme or any main idea or central idea while reading the text. So let's get started. First, here is a vertical linkage. It links your SLO with the previous grade, and moving on to our main text of the lesson, I hope that you can open your books and read with me, because in order to find the main theme or central idea or main idea of a text, we have to read it thoroughly. It means we have to skim through it through every sentence and every word. It happened many years ago when I was in the 5th standard at the government school, Kambalpur, now called Attak. One day, I was going to school with 4 rupees in my pocket to pay the school fees and the funds. When I got there, I found out that the teacher was going to collect the fee. Master Ghulam Muhammad was on leave, so the fees will be collected next day. Although that day the coins simply sat in my pocket, once school got over and I was outside, they began to speak. All right, coins don't talk. They jingle or go khanak khanak. But I am telling you, that day they actually spoke. One coin said, "What are you thinking about? Those fresh hot jalebis coming out of the kadhai in the shop over there. Jalebis are meant to be eaten and only those with money." I replied, "Look here, you 4 rupees, I am a good boy. Don't misguide me or it won't be good for you. I consider even looking at something in the bazaar a sin. Besides, you are my fees and my fun money. If I spend you today, then how shall I show my face to Master Ghulam Muhammad in school tomorrow and after that to Allah Miya on the day of Qiyamah? So it's best you stop chewing at my ears like this and let me go home straight." The coins disliked what I had said so much that all of them began to speak at the same time. In a panic, I grabbed all 4 of them and held them right in my fist, and then they were silent. After taking a few steps, I loosened my grip. Immediately, the oldest started to persuade me to buy jalebis with fee money and then pay fee with scholarship money. I thought it was not right, but it was not that wrong either. I'm not a common sort of boy. But then, these jalebis are no common sort of jalebis either. They are crisp, fresh, and full of sweet syrup. In school, I was among the most promising students. I had even won a scholarship of 4 rupees a month. Besides, I came from a particularly well-to-do family, so I enjoyed considerable prestige. I had never once been beaten so far. For a child of such status, standing there in the middle of the bazaar eating jalebis? No, it was not right. The coins kept up their persuasion. I went inside home to have lunch. They began to shriek. Thoroughly fed up, I rushed out of the house barefooted and ran towards the bazaar. Terrified I was, but quickly I told the halwai to weigh a whole rupee worth of jalebis. His astonished look seemed to be asking where I had the handcart in which I would carry all those jalebis. The halwai opened up a whole newspaper and heaped a pile of jalebis on it. By that time, I was so pleased with my stomach full of jalebis that I started handing out jalebis to the children around the street. Delighted, they ran off, jumping and screaming. Soon, a whole lot of other children appeared. I dashed to the halwai and bought one more rupee's worth of jalebis, came back and distributed it among the children. By now, there was a huge mob of children around me. I bought jalebis for the remaining 2 rupees as well and distributed them. Jalebis I had gobbled up easily enough, but digesting them became another matter. With every breath came a burp. At night, I had to eat my dinner as well. If I had not eaten, I would have been asked to explain why. I did not want any food. And if I had pretended illness, the doctor would have been summoned, and if the doctor, after feeling my pulse, had declared, Munna has devoured a mound of jalebis, I would simply die. In the morning, I headed for school. I knew I would get the previous month's scholarship that day, and once I had paid the fees with that amount, the jalebis would be completely digested. But when I got to school, I found out that the scholarship was going to be paid the following month. My head started to spin. Master Ghulam Muhammad announced that the fees would be taken during the recess. When the recess bell rang, I tucked my bag under my arm, left the school and simply followed my nose, walking on and on. If no mountain or ocean blocked my path, I would have kept going till the earth ended and the sky began. And once I got there, I would say to Allah Mia, just this once, save me and drop just 4 rupees in my pocket. I promise I will use them only to pay my fees and not to eat jalebis. I reached the railway station. There was a shade-giving tree beside the railway tracks. I sat under it and wondered why the entire matter seemed so simple and straightforward. Eat jalebis with the fees money and then pay the fees with the scholarship money. I would have postponed my jalebi eating program to the next month as well. Now, for the first time in my life, I was absent from school and I felt like crying. I closed my eyes and began to pray. Allah, I'm a very good boy. I have memorized the entire namaz. I even know the last 10 surahs of the Quran by heart. If you wish, I can recite the entire Ayatul Kursi for you just now. The need of your devoted servant is only the fees money that I ate the jalebis with. So all right, I admit I made a mistake. I didn't eat them all by myself though. I thought I fed them to a whole lot of children too. Now you do one thing, just put 4 rupees in my bag. I remembered that school must have ended and the children must be on their way home. I got up from there and walked to the bazaar and waited for the school bell to ring so that when the children came out, I too would walk home with them as if I had come straight from school. I did not even realize that I was standing near the jalebi wala's shop. Suddenly, the halwai called out, "Kyun bhai, shall I weigh a rupee's worth?" But I was not feeling well that day, so I simply moved away. The next day, I did the same thing. I got dressed and left home, went up to the school gate and then turned off to the railway station. Under the same tree, I sat and began to say the same prayers. I repeated, pleaded, Allah Mia, at least give it to me today. Today is the second day. Then I said, all right, Come, let's play a game. I will go from here to that signal. You secretly place 4 rupees under this big rock. I will touch the signal and come back. What fun it will be if I pick up the rock and find 4 rupees underneath. So, are you ready? I am going towards the signal. 1, 2, 3. I went up to the signal and returned smiling, but I could not find the courage to pick up the rock. What if the coins were not there? But then I thought, what if they were? Finally, after saying Bismillah, when I lifted the rock, this big hairy worm got up and curling and twisting wriggled towards me. I did that twice but found only Mr. Worm under the same rock. I walked away thinking, tomorrow I will do wudu, wear clean clothes and come here. From morning to noon, I will keep praying. If even after that Allah doesn't give me 4 rupees, I will be forced to learn how to strike bargains or make deals with Him. After all, if my Allah does not give me my 4 rupees, then who will? That day, when I returned home, apparently from school and actually from the railway station, I was caught. The report of my absence had reached home. Well, whatever happened, happened. But up to the 7th or 8th standard, I kept wondering if Allah Mia had sent me 4 rupees that day. What harm could it have possibly caused anyone? It was only later that I came to the conclusion that if Allah Mia were to provide all for the asking, then man would even today be living in nests like vultures and crows and would not have learned the art of making jalebis. Now, this story is translated into English. It is written in Urdu originally by Ahmad Nadeem Qasmi. He is a very famous writer. Now, students, we have learned, we have read the story, we have enjoyed it as well. There was humor in it. It was a little funny also, but it had a very good moral lesson. So, what do you think? What is the main theme and what is the main idea? Yes, the main idea is that we should show self-preservance, we should be honest and not make such mistakes so that we can not regret it later on. So the main theme is being honest, telling family members and just self-control as well. So what was the main idea? The boy was actually a very good boy, but he fall for the temptation and just spend the fee money on eating jalebis. And then he regretted later on that he did a very big mistake. He repented to God, he asked for help, and then the issue was somehow resolved. What happened, and then he learned a valuable lesson that you should be honest and you should not spend the fee money for doing something else. Rather, just be straightforward and honest and control your desires and temptations. So, if we talk about the post-reading question, what is the central idea or theme of the story Jalebis? It is self-control. It is confiding to your family members, telling them what happened instead of just making your choices and lying or bunking from school. So these are all the different messages you can apply in your life in any other way, because the main message is the same. And when we are talking about summary, we will provide a concise summary of the story in our own words. So summarize the whole story in your own words, make it shorter than the original text. Now, in the learning outcome, students, we talked about writing objective summary. Yes, summaries can be of two types, subjective and objective. In objective summaries, we do not include our personal interpretations and opinions. We will just tell the text as it is by shortening it, not involving our interpretation, our thinking, emotions and feelings. We will stick to the original text and just summarize it quickly without our interpretation and opinions. So here is an objective summary. The story is about a young boy named Munna who lives in a government school. who actually doesn't live in it, but he goes to a government school. He is given a scholarship but spends the money on jalebis instead of paying the school fees. When he realizes his mistake, he tries to make amends by praying to Allah for help. Despite his prayers, he is unable to find the money to pay the fees. Munna learns a valuable lesson about responsibility, faith, and the importance of perseverance. So this is the objective summary, but if we write subjective summary, then we can include our opinions and we can also interpret it in our own ways or include our experiences. Objective means that we should not include all these things and make the summary objective so that everybody can read it and there is no interpretation. Whereas subjective summary include your personal opinions. So in the same way, just like you actually learned and then you can write objective summary, you can write a subjective summary as well, but you have to include all these things that I mentioned. Now, here is a simulation link that talks about finding main idea or central idea of any text. Just like students, we read the text thoroughly and find out about the moral lesson, the main theme which the story was based on, and the central idea of self-control and perseverance. So in the same way, you can read the text and write an objective summary of it. You can read this short passage and find out the theme of the text. All these resources are added. I hope students that you are very much clear about the learning outcome. Thank you for listening. I hope that we have clearly learned the learning outcome about reading or writing an objective summary by reading the text thoroughly and find out the main idea or theme. See you in the next video lesson. Allah Hafiz.